Hello, I'm Brandon Lewis, Director of the Marketing Department at the Academy for Professional Painting Contractors, and I'm going to talk to you about the biggest cause of the problem of being stalled, stuck, or flatlined in your painting business, and truly what causes it. How is it that somebody can be in the painting business for 5, 10, 15, 20 years and be stuck at 100,000, 250,000, 500,000, or even at or around a million or 1.5 million, yet consistently struggle to change those numbers and to seem to be spending ever increasing amounts on marketing and advertising, but having these big $100,000, $200,000 swings? Well, here's what I'm going to talk to you about, and it's one thing that we begin to completely repair as we get a cash surge going for you in the first 30 days of your APPC membership. Now, I must go ahead and give you a warning, if it's okay. Marketing is about two things. One is emotions, and those emotions are the emotions of your customers, meaning what are they concerned about, what are they afraid of, what are their dreams and aspirations, and that's why all of your copywriting and all of your messaging to that market has to take that into account. But there's another big thing, the second component of marketing, and that's mathematics. Math, formulas, lots of really important numbers that have everything to do with your marketing. So what I'm going to do is really just walk you through this process as if you and I were sitting in a room talking about why your business is stalled. And we're going to specifically address the issue of retention, okay? Customer retention and reactivation. So let me give you a few numbers. And this is from doing over 153 marketing assessments. This is from my experience of building up a $1 million painting business in 5 short years, selling it for $440,000 with no prior painting experience, helping tons of people double their sales. Lots of owners have their best years ever and implement systems they've been meaning to do for decades. So this isn't just my opinion. This is both my opinion, my experience, the field tests with our members, assessments, data-driven stuff, and lots of reports from people like the Harvard Business Review. So there's good, solid evidence and field tests. I know these things are accurate. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is the fact that your painting business is really a list-driven business. All of the value in your painting business doesn't come from the sprayers, the vans, doesn't even come from your ability to do good work. It's about the list. And so let me talk about the value of your in-house list, people that you have done work for in the past. You see, every person that is in your in-house list is worth about $1,000 per year. So if somebody is in your list, if you have a list of 1,000 people, if you just did their work, you would be a $1 million painting business. If you have 500 people on your list, if you just did repeat work, you should be a $500,000 painting business. How do we arrive at this number? Well, number one, the thing you have to realize is people do about $11,000 worth of painting over 11 years. So say, for example, you do a whole house exterior that's around $6,500, and then they're going to do a couple of $1,500 interior jobs, deck staining. They're going to do one pressure washing job in a little over a decade. This does not take into account their value as a referral source, nor does this take into account the fact that the average American moves every 7 years. However, for the most profitable painting business owners, or really residential owners we're talking about here, we'll talk about commercial later, that's about what they're worth. And these are the people that live in the types of homes and neighborhoods that you really want to be marketing. These are not the type of people that are struggling, who don't take care of their homes. So $1,000 a year, this is a very conservative number, the best number I can come up with, given all the data our owners give us when they dig into their numbers. So again, if you got a 200-person list, that's $200,000. If you are a 500-person list, that's $500,000, right? And of course, if you want to get to $1 million, all you have to really do in this business is to keep your customers. You see, this business is more about keeping what you have than going to get new things. Now, we're going to start running some mathematics. I'm going to have to pull out my handy-dandy calculator. I think you should do the same for your business, and I want you to bear with me because we're going to run through the numbers. This is where, in my experience, the sharp business owners perk up and pay attention, and where the ones who really aren't very serious about their business fall asleep. And so I want you to pay attention to these numbers. Well, let's say that we do something like a direct mail. We're going to look at cost of lead, we're going to look at cost of sale, and we're going to start talking about why you get stuck and stalled in your painting business and the mathematics behind the cost of sale and lead generation. So let's talk about getting a cold lead for a moment. Let's say that you go after 1,000 high-end homes with a really good proven controlled direct mail piece, meaning that you mail into homes that are worth $350,000 or more in your area with a mail piece that you know works. Now, I have lots of experience in direct mail. I have lots of experience in online lead generation, lots of experience in radio, lots of experience in trade shows. I know how to generate leads in every conceivable medium, but we're going to keep with mail because it's simple and easy to understand. And secondly, we're also talking about a control piece. A control piece means that you have crafted a message that is very effective professionally, and you know that it works. We have control pieces in all of our programs for everything we do, things that have been used over and over again, okay? So let's say that you mail out to 1,000 people with A-pile direct mail, personal style direct mail, first class postage. And let's be really conservative here. And let's say that you only get 0.5%, okay? This is being exceptionally conservative, 0.5%. So 0.005. That means that out of 1,000, you're going to get 5 estimate requests, right? All right, that's 5% of 1,000. We see that the numbers are better, but I'm going to try to make this as a conservative situation as possible. So, $1,000, 5 estimates. Let's say that you send out this mailer and that you're going to spend, because you're doing it in-house, about $750 to get it out. I don't think you'll spend that much, but let's just call it that. Or let's even back it up a little bit further. We'll say $600, which is a penny, 2 pennies for a piece of paper, your postage, your envelope, etc. Let's say it's $600. Well, now we have to take, to get your cost of lead, we have to take 600 and we have to divide it by 5. That's $120 per lead. Are you following me? Well, so you divide it by 5. Our cost per lead, CPL, is $120, right? $120. And let's say that you close brand new leads. Now, your closing rate on old customers, repeat customers, referrals is going to be a lot higher, but these are cold leads. They close at the lowest rates, but let's say you're good at this, okay, and we're going to be generous. Again, I want these numbers to be as conservative as possible. Let's say you close, on average, 30% of your sales. So that means you take 30 times 0.5, or 5 estimates. That means you're going to get, and I know we're going to end up with a weird fraction here, but this is how numbers work. 5 times 0.3 equals, you're going to end up with 1.5 jobs, right? 1.5 jobs. So that means your cost of sale is not the 120, it's the 600 divided by the 1.5. So you take 600, you divide it by 1.5, and you get about $400 per sale. Okay? So that means by the time you're all in, by the time you've mailed, by the time you've seen, and these are very bleak numbers, it's $400 per sale. All right? And this really kind of starts showing how your marketing budget has to be. And we always want to use the bleakest numbers, meaning that we always want to be very conservative when we look at lead generation. We don't want to be overly optimistic. So if our average job is $3,000, right? Our average job is $3,000, which is a good number, average number for most of our members. Then it's going to cost us $400 to get a new lead. Okay? So to get a $3,000 sale, we're going to have to spend $400 in marketing. Now, let's say that we're going to just go ahead and be really generous, and we're going to say that we're going to do twice as good, okay? And that we're only going to spend $200 per sale. Again, I want to be as conservative as possible so you can see these numbers. So let's just say, Brandon, I think that's high. Whatever you think it is. I don't think it is. Let's say it's $200 per sale. Well, according to the Harvard Business Review, depending on which survey you look at, what scoring you look at, what industry you're in, it takes 200, or rather it takes 5 times to 25 times more to get a new lead to convert to sale versus a past customer. I think it's higher in our industry, but between 5 and 25 times, okay? I'm going to go with the most conservative number. You could look up this Harvard Business Review article. Just type in Harvard Business Review, cost of sale, cost of lead, customer retention. You can find it pretty easily. And they compile all these studies. So that means that to get a past customer to buy from you, you take the 200 and you divide it by you multiply it by 0.2. So let's just do the old algebra here. So you go, if it costs 5 times more, you go 5x equals 200. And so that means if we divide it by 5, we'll get our number, right? So let's take 200 and let's divide it by 5. And I know I shouldn't have to use a calculator for this, but I have to. It's $40. So to get a past customer to buy from you costs $40. To get a brand new lead costs $200. You can begin to see why, if you don't talk to your list, if you don't communicate, if you're not there to continually and constantly capture the organic lead, the spending, the $1,000 per year that's going on in your list, how it can get very expensive. We're about to show you how expensive it can get. Alright? Most people build their business almost exclusively going after new leads and hoping that their past customers can remember them. I'm here to tell you that the moment you walk off the property, they begin forgetting you. And every single conference I've spoken at, expo, you name it, when I get in front of a crowd of painting contractors and I ask them if they had plumbing issues in 2009, they can't remember. And if I ask them who did it, they can't remember that either. Even though they know they've had plumbing work done within certain time range. If they can't remember, it's highly likely that you can't remember either. Okay? They just can't. So let's say that you want to grow your business by an extra $250,000 next year. Well, it's real simple. This is where the math comes in. You take $250,000 and you divide it by $200, right? So what's that end up being? You take $250,000, you divide it, or rather, I'm sorry, you take $250,000, you divide it by your average sale, which is $3,000, and it'll tell you how many jobs you would have to do on average to get that. So you take $250,000, divide it by 3,000, that's 83.3 jobs. So to add $250,000 to your painting business next year, you're going to have to add 83.3 jobs. Do you follow me? Well, what's that going to cost you? Well, if you're going after all new leads, it's going to cost you $200, right? So we take 83.3, we multiply that times $200, and we get $16,666. Right? And let's say that you want to build a $1 million painting business exclusively with new leads, which is what almost everybody does. We want the leads off the internet, we want cold strangers, we want people who do not know us. That's what you're going to have to do, right? So you take this 16,666 number to get to $1 million and multiply it by 4. Which means if you want to build a $1 million painting business, you're going to have to spend with all new leads and marketing. You're going to have, just in lead generation, this isn't sales necessarily, you're going to have to spend $666,666. I did not mean for this to come out to be the mark of the beast, but yet here it is, and I think it's fitting because All new customers are evil, and they will rob you of your profits. Now, let's look at what it would cost to build that same $1 million painting business with all old leads, right? Divide it by 5, $13,000. And 333, right? Do you see the difference? When you have $1 million painting business, $13,000 is manageable. And if you've got a big enough list, 1,000 people or more, you can get there. Now, this does not even take into account the fact that you're going to get referrals from that list when you work them. This does not take into account the fact that that you are going to get new leads, new low-cost leads, people that just find you. So if you can do a really good job just going back to your in-house list in a very programmatic, recurring fashion, which is what we teach you how to do, then you don't have to spend $666,000. You have to spend, you have to spend $13,333. Now let's take that $13,333 and let's divide it by 4. It would only cost you about $3,300 if you systematically went after your old customers to add $250,000 in sales if you'll just go after them and your list is big enough and you capture what's there. See, this math problem, if you've been stuck or stalled for years, this is the biggest reason I've discovered why people get stuck, because they basically restart their business every year and they throw away everything that they've worked for in building that client base. See, that's the most valuable thing you own in your business. If your business caught on fire, you need to run in and get your client list. Not your van, not your sprayer, not anything else, not your software. You need to get your customer list. That's the most important thing you own. We're in a list-driven business. You can't even sell your business for hardly anything if you don't have a system to prove to someone who wants to buy it that this customer list is going to continually generate revenue for you. So I hope this math has been important. This is one of the biggest things that we do to get you instantly generating cash in the first 30 days. In closing, I will say this. We have lots of people that join our program that have been in other programs before, mentoring, roundtables, consulting, one-on-one, whatever. And I always start digging into these numbers and I ask them, has anybody ever talked to you about customer retention? And they say, no, Brandon, I've been stuck at $700,000 and they've been in a program for 7 years. And it's because of this. You see, math does not care about your opinion, my opinion, the customer's opinion. It's just math. And math is very hard on us, and it is unforgiving. And so if you've been stuck and you can't figure out why, I would say this is one of the biggest reasons. So do me a favor. Go ahead and schedule your free diagnostic and assessment call with me before your enrollment deadline ends. You see, what we do here is very straightforward, very mathematical, very proven, makes a lot of sense. It's not a lot of smoke and mirrors, branding, imaging BS. It's just straight and to the point. And if we can get these numbers better for you, this is one stop in the core 5 in your first 30 days where you can make more profits. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about in the next section, or next session rather, why you're losing to Chuck in a truck, why you're constantly losing leads to people without any overhead, no insurance, and whose work isn't as good as yours, but yet you're constantly losing to price. We're going to talk about how to prevent that so you can increase your closing rates, increase your prices, and get those really good customers that are so often stolen by the fly-by-night companies. So go ahead, click the button on the screen. Let's schedule your diagnostic call and assessment. Let's talk soon.